All right, Gilbert, the Lions edge out the Vikings 31-29. Jared Goff has been on fire. I think I heard on Rich Eisen's show, he is the only quarterback in the modern era that has started 10 for 10 in 10 for 10 or more in 3 games in one NFL season. So that's incredible by him. Jared Goff's last 3 games against the Vikings, 22-25, 280, 2 touchdowns. Against the Vikings, 18-25, 315, 3 touchdowns. Against the Seahawks, 18 for 18, 292, 2 touchdowns. Remember, that's why John Gruden was feeling nicey, was because the Seahawks, because Jared Goff won 18 of 18. Oh my God, Boltillo has Gibbs and Mixon on his fantasy. Jeez. But
that's a good day.
Gilbert, you wrote about it yesterday. So I got to ask you, has Jared Goff elevated himself?
Oh, first of all, I'm gonna. Victor has joined us. He's behind the scenes, so take maybe a little lap, Victor, because you called him an MVP candidate. It's still way early, but he is a legitimate contender for the MVP. Victor, he might even be my front runner, but based on the stats you mentioned, Fernando, and I think even the passer ratings off the roof. I think he would have been maybe the first quarterback in a long time to get maybe 3 or 4 consecutive games over 150 passer rating. He got 140, so a little bit down against the Vikings there. But, people are going to say, well, this guy has too much help. Ben Johnson, play caller. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery.
No such thing.
No such thing as having too much help. But the way, everything was kind of going the Vikings' way to win games this season. They were down 10-0. Special teams blew it on the 4th down. I forget, some other miscues occurred. I'm like, oh, it's becoming a Brian Flores game. And then they scored 3 touchdown drives in the second quarter. So he scored in a hurry. And then when Montgomery fumbled, it wasn't his fault, but he was composed. He wasn't like, okay, we're going to lose this game. It's more, oh, cool. Let's get the ball back and go down the field for a game-winning field goal for Jake Bates there. So very composed, making all the right reads. Like Flores was still throwing a bunch of pressure on him, and he never flinched. Okay, I'm on route right there. Here you go. Pass. Even guys like Tim Patrick and who else am I forgetting? Is it Reynolds, I think? So a lot of these guys are all stepping up for him. So he has the stats, quality victories, game-winning drives. So he's doing it right now. And, even you, Fernando, who's been very critical of Jared Goff, for you to come around and say this guy's playing well. If you're still doubting the guy, I don't know what else he could do. I guess win the Super Bowl. But every year he's gone to Detroit, he's gotten better. The first year was rough. Second year, better. Third year was amazing. Now he's playing better in this 4th year. So, I'm in with Jared Goff, being the MVP favorite right now. It's still very early for the race here, but that was a big-time victory without Aiden Hutchinson, the Vikings being at home, the Vikings getting a bye week, the Vikings coming back on the Urban Pace Jr. scoop and score touchdown. So it was all set up for the Lions, and they come out and they win it. So this is why, I'm going to be the little hater right here. This is kind of the last thing I wanted to see with the Vikings, be in a slugfest, play from behind. Can you rally? And for the most part, they did it. They answered a lot of question marks for me that I had with Sam Darnold. So I still think it's the Lions division, obviously, because they won. But I think the Vikings in a loss showed me a whole bunch where I'm starting to take them a little more seriously than I had before, where I'm playing into the bit here where I didn't believe in them. But now I think they're probably – I would not be surprised, Fernando, to kind of end my point here. If we see a rematch in this, they will play each other again, but in the NFC title game or somehow, some way. I know it was going to be a 1-5 seeding there, but somehow they'll play each other in the playoffs, and it was going to be a great game.
Hawkinson still is coming back for the Vikings, so that'll definitely help those guys out a lot. Gilberto, this is important. Angel's asking you, Ladd or Harrison Jr. tonight for flex?
Obviously, the bigger name is Marvin Harrison Jr. He has done crap. He's coming out of a concussion. I'm very worried, but I'm still going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. here. But Ladd McConkey, I think you know the stats very well, Fernando. Whenever he's getting targets and catches, maybe 5 or 6, and he's very involved, the Chargers tend to win the game. So he's heavily involved. I think they know that, but I still want to ride him, Marvin Harrison Jr., even though I benched him this week. I couldn't wait for the injury report.
All right. I'm impressed with Jared Goff. I'm just wondering if that defense is going to be able to hold up the rest of the way forward. That's my biggest question mark about them. By the way, Ben Johnson is my Eagles pick for head coach next.
You still think Nick Sirianni's out? He just beat down those Giants, man. I know it's the Giants, but yeah.
No, I feel like at the end of the day, they're going to see that it's been too much of this. And unless they win the division, because all of a sudden Jaden Daniels is kind of with the injury. If we do not get Jaden Daniels against against Caleb Williams, I'm gonna be pissed, and that's what it's looking like right now. So we'll see what happens there. By the way, did you see his mom breaking news? She's like,
Yeah,
he's fine.
he's fine. So I'm sure
Yeah.
people were relieved to see that. And then he was on the sideline too, smiling.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But I really
I say 3. I know Victor
3.
has 4, but what do you have, Fernando?
Yeah, I'll have 3.
But for my
Uh,
sake, I want it to be the Bears because I picked them. But I don't see more than 3.
yeah, I'll say the 3. Ben Johnson was getting criticized at the beginning of the season. They're like, oh, maybe he's lost all of his gusts and all of his this and all of his that. They're still going strong. They're doing well. So there's
Yeah.
no way you can say that. And then on top of that, maybe they're starting. Jamar Gibbs is starting to figure it out. 15 carries, 116, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, you said Montgomery had the fumble, but yesterday when he targeted Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 for 8, 112, 1 touchdown. That's very impressive when you look at that. So definitely very impressed by the Lions.